The clinking of silver on porcelain was the restaurant's heartbeat, a steady rhythm beneath the murmur of quiet conversations. It was a place of deep carpets and low light, where money whispered and power dined. She moved between the tables like a ghost, a blur of white apron and black uniform. Her efficiency made her invisible, just another part of the expensive scenery. She was refilling a water glass when the first drop of ice-cold liquid hit her sleeve. Then, the full, stinging splash of aged whiskey soaked her front, the dark amber stain spreading like a wound. A beat of stunned silence. Then, a snort, quickly stifled. At the corner booth sat three of them, young men in suits that cost more than her yearly salary. Their faces were flushed with arrogance and expensive liquor. The one who had accidentally knocked the glass held his hand up in mock apology, a smirk playing on his lips. "Oh my goodness," he drawled, his voice loud enough to carry. "Clumsy me. You really should watch where you're going." His friends chuckled, their eyes dissecting her humiliation. The cold liquid seeped through the thin fabric, chilling her skin. She felt the burn of it, or perhaps it was the burn of their stares. Her hands trembled, just slightly, as she reached for a napkin from her apron. I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, her voice tight, her eyes locked on the growing stain. She began to dab at it, a useless, repetitive motion. "Look at her," one of them stage whispered. "She's shaking. Bet that's the most expensive thing she's worn all night." The ringleader leaned forward, pulling a crumpled $20 bill from his wallet. He held it between two fingers as if it were contaminated. "Here, sweetheart, this should cover the dry cleaning. Don't spend it all in one place." He didn't hand it to her. He dropped it. The bill landed on the wet floor by her feet, a final, casual punctuation to their cruelty. The restaurant's gentle hum seemed to recede, pulling away until the only sound was the frantic beat of her own heart. She stopped dabbing the stain. Her trembling hands went still. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, she raised her head. She didn't look at the money. She didn't look at the jeering friends. She looked directly and only at the man who had spilled the drink. Her face was pale, her expression unreadable, but her eyes were a void. There was no anger, no fear, no tears welling at the corners. There was just a vast, chilling emptiness, a stillness that seemed to absorb all the light in the room. She held his gaze, unblinking. The seconds stretched, heavy and taut, like a wire being pulled to its breaking point. The man's smirk faltered. He shifted in the plush leather booth. "What?" he asked, his voice losing its confident edge. "What are you looking at?" She said nothing. Her breath was even. She just watched him, as if she were memorizing every line of his face, every detail of his expensive tie, etching him into her memory. His friends stopped laughing. The air around their table grew thick and cold. A different kind of fear, one they had never known, began to prickle at the back of their necks. This wasn't the reaction they wanted. This wasn't a crying girl they could laugh about later. This was something else. This was wrong. "Hey," the man said, trying to reclaim his dominance, but his voice cracked. "I said I was sorry." She broke the gaze first. She took a single, deep breath. Then, with a grace that didn't belong to a simple waitress, she unfastened her apron. She folded it neatly, deliberately, and placed it on the edge of a nearby service cart. She never once glanced at the manager, now rushing toward her, his face a mask of panic. She turned, her back straight, and walked, not ran, toward the heavy front doors. She pushed through them and disappeared into the night, leaving the $20 bill soaking in a puddle of whiskey on the floor. A heavy silence descended on the table. The ringleader stared at the door she had just exited. His hands were shaking now, and he didn't know why. He felt a sudden, profound chill, a sense of having tripped a wire he didn't even know was there. From a dark corner cable, an older gentleman in a tailored suit watched the young men. He calmly took a sip of his water, signaled for his check, and felt a quiet, terrible pity for the boys who thought their night was just getting started.